Hey guys, we're going to start chapter 10 today. We're going to be looking at and focusing on how Rome came to be. In other words, who discovered it, who began this civilization. And it's going to blow your mind. So you're going to really have to put on your thinking cap today and decide if this story is a bunch of baloney or if it could have actually happened. What I'm going to share with you today is going to be so disturbing, you're going to love it. But before I get into it, I've been using this new scanner app to take pictures of stuff from your textbook so that you guys could actually see the textbook material from home. I know that you don't have any copies at home. So if you're struggling to see these pictures that I've been taking and I'm going to start using and uploading, I want to know that. Please email me at swolf2@district100.com if you're struggling with that. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Follow along with me about how Rome came to be. You wonder if Roman legends are as amazing as Greek legends. So you find a story about the founding of Rome. According to legend, a man overthrew his brother, the king. He then ordered that his twin nephews be drowned. He feared that the twins might someday challenge his power. The baby boys were placed in a basket and thrown into the Tiber River. You guys know from doing your map work already, the Tiber River is the main river that goes through Rome. The basket drifted to shore. There, a female wolf found it. She cared for and protected the boys. Later, a shepherd found the twins. He took them home, and he and his wife raised them. A shepherd being somebody who, has sheep and goats and stuff, right? A farmer. The boys were named Romulus and Remus. As teenagers, Romulus and Remus discovered who they really were. They killed the evil king, their uncle, and founded the city of Rome in 753 BC. Romulus laid out the boundaries of Rome and predicted, "It is heaven's will that my Rome shall be the capital of the world." You wonder whether his prediction proved to be true. All right, let's pause for a second. Don't hit the pause button. Let's think for a second. Could this even be true? That these two little boys get put into a basket, babies, right? Put into a basket, thrown into the river. They survive that. Then the basket washes to the shore and a female wolf finds these babies and then takes them and nurtures them and cares for them for we don't know how long. It doesn't really say in here. Let's go back up and see if it says that. A female wolf found it. She cared for and protected the boys. Later, a shepherd found the twins. Okay, it doesn't say how long that she had them, but do you think that it's even true that this wolf had these babies and did not eat them? Because I know that's what you're thinking. She would eat them. Do you think it's possible that an animal could take in a human baby and raise it? I want you to think about that for a minute. Okay. So there is this phenomena called feral children or Mowgli children. And these are children that have been abandoned in the world and they have been dumped off somewhere. You hear about it kind of, I don't want to say regularly, but it's much more common in Russia than any other place in the world where these children get dumped off by their parents and they never come back for them. And the children live in the forest, live in the jungle, wherever it might be, and get kind of raised by animals. It's completely not unheard of, as crazy as that sounds. So I want to share this story with you guys. Get ready, brace yourself, because the picture I'm about to show you it's gross. Okay. All right. Ready? Here we go. All right. Look at this. This is from Russia. This is from a few years ago. I don't know. I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Werewolf boy who snarls and bites on the run from police after escaping a Moscow clinic. All right, so this is a legit story, a news story. Werewolf boy has escaped from a Moscow clinic just a day after he was found. It is thought that he was raised by wolves. And his toenails are like claws. He's clearly dangerous to other people, said a police spokesman yesterday. He's not typical wolf-like habits, or he's got typical wolf-like habits and behavior. He has very strong and had sharp teeth, which could really endanger someone if he bites. The boy looks about 10, but after tests conducted by Moscow medics, they believe he may be much older. They are puzzled because he appears intelligent but does not seem to speak Russian or any other language. It is suspected that he has been running wild for many years. Such cases are not uncommon in Russia, where there have been regular reports of Mowgli children abandoned by their parents who are cared for by animals. Mowgli, hopefully that rings a bell with you and you're thinking, I've heard that name before. Mowgli from a Jungle Book, right, is the little boy who gets abandoned in the forest and lives out in the jungle with the animals. It's the story Jungle Book, right? And so they call this, when people have done this and abandoned their children, they call them Mowgli children. The boy moves around with his legs half bent. He was running with wolves and searching for food with them. Villagers found this wild creature in a lair made of leaves and sticks in freezing temperatures and told police, who named him Lyoka. Though his real identity is not known, he's dirty, hungry, and looked to have had a hard time, said a police spokesman. We brought him to a clinic in Moscow. He was simply unbelievable. He doesn't react when we call to him. Medics gave him clothes and said that he sprang down the corridor, bursting into his room and devouring his food like an animal. After 24 hours, he had evaded security men at the clinic and escaped. He's now believed to be on the loose in the Moscow region. Aren't you glad we're not in Russia? We didn't even manage to complete the proper medical checks. We only succeeded in giving him a shower, cutting his nails, and took some blood and other tests. All right, it's quite possible he is dangerous with psychological problems, but also a source of viruses and infections. All right, so this was several years ago. But he is not the only case of Mowgli children that have ever been found. So let's look at another one. Okay, so we're going to look at this girl. Her name is Oksana Malaya. She is said to have been an abandoned feral child. Basically, I'm going to tell you what her story is. Her story is that her parents abandoned her, not out into the woods or a jungle or whatever. They actually locked her out of the house and they made her live in a dog kennel. She is from Ukraine, which is in Russia or by Russia. So they locked her outside in this dog kennel that was kind of in this alleyway by their house. And they think, lived out in this dog kennel for like 4 or 5 years with the dogs, with stray dogs, neighborhood dogs, whatever, that came up and down through that alley until she was found. And she was little when she was put out there. So she picked up on all of these dog habits instead of like human habits. All right, so look at this. I have the sound turned off. So look at how she is. I don't think that my computer will actually record the sound. I don't know. Let's try. No. Let's see if you guys can hear this. No, it won't record the sound. She barks. I've heard her bark and it's amazing. Like, her bark is like a dog bark. But she wasn't around she wasn't around humans when her brain was developing, and so she did not pick up on a lot of the skills that you and I have. So here's another one. This guy, you can follow along with me. His name's John Sespuna. One day in 1991, a Ugandan villager named Millie Seba went further than usual in search of firewood and came upon a little boy with a pack of monkeys. She summoned help and the boy was cornered up a tree. He was brought back to Millie's village. His knees were almost white from walking on them. His nails were very long and curled round, and he wasn't house trained. The villager identified the boy as John Sespuna, last seen in 1988, at the age of 2 or 3 when his father murdered his mother and disappeared. For the next 3 years or so, he lived wild. He vaguely remembers monkeys coming up to him after a few days and offering him roots and nuts, sweet potatoes, and cassava. The 5 monkeys, 2 of them young, were wary at first, but befriended him within about 2 weeks and taught him, he says, how to travel with them to search for food. And he's now like 21 years old. This was from a while ago, so he's much older than that now. But again, he's another case of a Mowgli child, or somebody who has been abandoned by their family and their parents, and when their brain is still trying to develop what it is to be a human and how it is to speak and how it is to walk and how you do the things that humans do, he wasn't exposed to that. So he learned the animal behaviors. You guys have all kinds of time right now. So if you want to go on the internet and you want to look for feral children, it's spelled F like Frank, Feral, feral children. You will find tons of stuff, and it is so interesting. The most famous one is a little girl named Jeannie. She's probably like in her 60s now, but when she was little, she was locked in her bedroom, not allowed to come out. Her parents didn't put her out into the wild or anything like that. They just did not interact with her. So she got locked into her bedroom. She went to the bathroom in there. They brought food to her in there, but they never spoke to her. They never held her. They never carried her around. They never let her leave her room. And so when she was found, I want to say she was like 12, I think. No, maybe she was a little younger than that. Maybe she was like 9 when she was found. I think a neighbor had seen her through the window and had made a call to find out like what is going on. I've never seen this child before ever come out of this room. What is going on? When she was rescued from her room, she barely could walk. She could not speak at all. She did not have any of the behaviors of a typical human. And even though she was born as a perfectly healthy child, she never, her brain never developed into the way that she should have, because you guys have heard me talk about this occasionally in class when I talk about getting your neurons firing, and that there's different parts of your brain that are growing depending on, you know, your age and your maturity and the way your body is changing. And so when that part of your brain is open and it's ready to grow those neurons, it's only open for a certain amount of time. And if you teach those neurons what they need to know, then they'll continue to grow. But if you don't give them what they need, they die. And so there's no way for you to go back later on and try to get those neurons to start firing again. And that's why it's so important that when you have these windows of time to learn certain things, that you take advantage of it, because it's almost impossible to learn a skill once that neuron center has closed. So she never got exposed when she had certain neuron centers open, which is kind of the case for all of these feral children. So I encourage you guys to look it up. But right now what I want you to do is think about, is it even possible, going back to that first story? Sorry, I got cut off. So going back to that first story that we talked about here, Rome's beginnings with Romulus and Remus, that they were thrown into the river, rescued by a she-wolf, and then raised by this shepherd and his wife. Do you think that it's even possible that these two boys could have discovered Rome and then become the king and done all of these amazing things that made one of the greatest civilizations in the world? A lot of students in the past have said, no way, it's not possible. The wolf would have eaten them. Even if the wolf wouldn't have eaten them, they wouldn't have been developmentally correct to be able to do what they did. But we don't really know if it's a true story or not. And we don't know how long they might have been with that she-wolf. But one thing I can tell you is that if you go to Rome, you will find this huge statue, this huge bronze statue in the center of the city. And it is a female wolf, and she is nursing 2 baby boys. She's feeding 2 baby boys. And so this story really is embraced as a part of the history and culture of ancient Rome, which is pretty cool. All right, we're going to start. You guys don't have any homework with this today. It's just interesting thought, because you're going to see these names pop up again. We're going to start this new novel, Tiger, Tiger. I'm going to read it to you today. It's going to be an entirely different recording, so you're going to have to return to Canvas and click on the new recording to hear that story. See ya.